You know what's weird? A game can have amazing graphics, a huge world, great combat, beautiful music, and still become annoying because of one tiny system in the background. Nobody buys a game because the checkpoint placement is good. Nobody watches a trailer and goes, wow, reasonable quest tracking, day one purchase. But the second that stuff feels wrong, you notice immediately. You die and get sent back before the long elevator ride. You open the map and somehow feel even more lost than before. You finish a mission, see 12 new icons appear, and suddenly gaming starts feeling dangerously close to having a second job. And that's what makes game mechanics so interesting. They're not just buttons and menus. That was my cat. They decide how games guide us, challenge us, reward us, waste our time, save our progress, and occasionally convince us that doing one more tiny task at 2:30 in the morning is a completely normal life decision. So today we're looking at 15 game mechanics that changed gaming forever. The mechanics that shaped how games feel even when we barely notice them. And we're starting with one that sounds boring until a game gets it wrong. So sit down, relax, game on. Let's talk about checkpoints. Oh, and before we fully jump in, if you enjoy cozy gaming history videos like this, liking the video genuinely helps a lot. And subscribing helps the couch grow. Number 15. Save points, checkpoints. Checkpoints are one of the mechanics that only become interesting when they betray you. When they work, you barely think about them. You die, the screen fades out, you respawn nearby, and you're back in the action before you even finish blaming the controller. But when a checkpoint is bad, you feel it immediately. Suddenly you're replaying the same hallway, watching the same door open, fighting the same 3 enemies, and hearing the same voice line for the 8th time. At that point, the boss isn't even the problem anymore. The real boss is repetition. Save points and checkpoints changed gaming because they gave failure a better rhythm. They turned start over into try again. And that matters. A good checkpoint respects your time. A bad checkpoint makes you do the commute before the fight. That tiny difference changes how patient you are, how brave you are, and how likely you are to keep playing after something goes wrong. Checkpoints may not be flashy, but they are one of the main reasons modern games feel smoother, more fair, and a lot less likely to make you stare at a loading screen while reconsidering your life choices. Number 14. Autosave. Autosave is basically the checkpoint's quieter, younger sibling. It does the same kind of work, but in the background. No save room, no menu, no please remember to save before touching the suspicious glowing door. The game just handles it. And that changed everything. Autosave made games flow better because saving stopped interrupting the experience. You could explore, fight, talk, crash a vehicle, steal something by accident, and the game quietly kept track of your progress. But autosave also created a new fear. When that little icon appears at the wrong moment, every gamer knows something is coming. The room gets quiet, there are too many healing items nearby, the game saves, and suddenly you're like, why are you being helpful right now? Autosave made games more approachable and less frustrating, but it also made our mistakes feel more permanent. Sell the wrong item? Autosave. Anger the wrong NPC? Autosave. Accidentally start chaos because you killed a chicken? Congratulations, that is now canon. Still, autosave changed gaming because it made saving invisible. And once we got used to that, manually saving started to feel like ancient wizard paperwork. Number 13. Health generation. There was a time when health didn't magically come back because you stood behind a wall and thought peaceful thoughts. If you got hurt, you stayed hurt. You had to find health packs, armor, food, potions, anything. Every hit mattered because every mistake followed you through the level. Then health generation became common and the whole place of games changed. Suddenly, damage wasn't always permanent. You could get hit, hide for a few seconds, wait for the screen to stop looking like someone spilled jam on it, and jump back into the fight. It made games faster, it made encounters more intense, and it let developers design around short bursts of danger instead of long-term survival. That's why generating health became so powerful. It changed damage from a resource problem into a rhythm. Fight, hide, recover, go again. But it also changed tension. When health comes too easily, danger can feel temporary. In an action game, that might be perfect. In a horror game, it can accidentally turn fear into breathing exercises. Health generation changed gaming because it changed how players recover, how fights are paced, and how games decide what a mistake should cost. Number 12. Cover systems. At some point, action heroes realized that standing in the open while 20 enemies shoot at you is not a personality trait. So they started sticking to walls, crouching behind cars, sliding behind suspiciously convenient waist-high concrete blocks. And cover systems became a huge part of modern action games. Cover changed combat because it made space matter. It wasn't just about aiming anymore, it was about positioning, timing, pressure, and knowing when to move. A good cover system makes you feel tactical. A bad one makes you attach yourself to the wrong wall while enemies politely remove you from the story. For a while, you could walk into a room and instantly know a gunfight was coming because the furniture looked too useful. But the mechanic worked because it created clear decisions. Where do you move? When do you peek? Can you stay there or are you about to get flanked? Cover systems changed gaming because they turned the environment into a part of the fight. Even when a game doesn't have a dedicated cover button, that idea is everywhere now. Number 11. Stealth indicators. Stealth games are funny because they rely on enemies having very specific eyesight. A guard can miss you crouching in a shadow 3 feet away, but the second you step into the wrong cone of vision, the entire base suddenly knows your blood type. Stealth indicators change games because they made hidden information readable. Without them, stealth can feel random. Did the enemy hear me? Did they see me? Are they suspicious? Is the AI confused? Is this guard pretending not to notice me because he's polite? A question mark appears, a bar fills up, the music changes, and your body immediately understands danger. That tiny warning gives stealth its rhythm. It tells you that you messed up, but maybe not completely yet. You still have a second to move, hide, distract, or panic roll into a table, a waist-high one. Stealth indicators help stealth spread into all kinds of games, not just pure stealth games. Open worlds, RPGs, action games, everyone borrowed the idea. Because good stealth is about tension, not confusion. The players should feel nervous, but they should also understand why they got caught. Unless the guard has psychic powers, then all bets are off. Number 10. Dialogue choices. Dialogue choices changed gaming because they made talking feel like gameplay. Instead of walking up to an NPC and receiving information like you were using a vending machine with shoes, you actually had to choose what your character said. That gave players a different kind of control, not just what do I do, but who am I in this world? Am I kind, sarcastic, honest, terrible for no reason? Dialogue choices made RPGs and story games feel personal. Even when the choices were small, pressing the button yourself made the moment feel like yours. A good dialogue choice can make you stop and think. A great one can make you stare at 4 options for 2 minutes, like I do that in KCD 2. Number 9. Skill trees. Skill trees are what happen when leveling up becomes a life plan. You start the game as a person with a weak attack and questionable clothing. A few hours later, you're staring at a giant upgrade menu trying to decide whether you want better stealth, stronger magic, or the ability to carry 400 pounds of cheese. Skill trees changed gaming because they made progression visible. You didn't just get stronger, you chose a direction, you built your version of the character. That is powerful because players love feeling like the build is theirs. Of course, not every skill tree is great. Sometimes it's just a menu full of tiny percentage boosts wearing a costume. But when skill trees work, they make growth feel personal, and that changed progression forever. Number 8. Quest markers. Quest markers are one of the most helpful and most controversial mechanics in gaming, because yes, they save time, but they can also turn exploration into following a glowing dot like a very obedient raccoon. Before quest markers became common, games often expected you to actually listen. An NPC would say something like, go north, past the river, and look for the old tower. That was your GPS. But quest markers changed that. Suddenly the game could just say, go here. And honestly, a lot of the time, that's great. Big worlds became easier to navigate, players got stuck less, stories moved faster, side quests became easier to track. But quest markers also changed how we explore. When the marker's too strong, you stop looking at the world. You stop reading landmarks, you stop thinking about directions, you just chase the number getting smaller. And once you notice that, it's hard to unsee. The best games guide you without dragging you. They help you move forward, but still make you feel like you found the way yourself. Quest markers changed gaming because they made massive games easier to play. but they also created a question designers are still dealing with, like, how do you help players without making the game feel like homework with arrows? Oh, and quick side note, don't forget to check out my other video on 15 gaming terms that changed gaming forever. That one is basically the language side of this same idea. This video is about systems games use, and that one is about the words gamers somehow never stopped saying. So if you like this cozy gaming history rabbit hole, that video fits right next to it. Number 7. Minimaps. The minimap is one of gaming's most powerful little boxes. It sits in the corner and quietly tells you where you are, where your objective is, where the enemies are, where shops are, where your car is, and sometimes where your dignity went after you drove off a bridge. Minimaps changed gaming because they gave players constant awareness. In racing games they show the track, in shooters they show danger, in open worlds they become a tiny version of the entire world. And once you're used to having one, losing it feels strange. Suddenly you're looking around like a person who forgot how streets work. But minimaps have a downside. Sometimes they become too useful. You stop looking at the actual game and start staring at the corner. The world becomes background scenery behind the navigation tool. You're technically exploring a beautiful environment, but your eyes are locked onto a tiny circle or square like it owes you money. That's what makes minimaps interesting. They help a lot, but they can also steal attention. A good minimap supports the world. A bad one replaces it. Still, minimaps changed how we move through games. They made big spaces easier to understand, and they taught us how to trust a tiny circle with our lives. Number 6. Fast travel. Fast travel is one of those mechanics that sounds simple until you imagine a huge open world without it. Walking across a massive world can be immersive. Fast travel changed gaming because it gave players control over pacing. It said, you already made the journey, go where the fun is. And that matters. Big worlds are exciting, but distance can become exhausting. A beautiful world can still be too big when you would just want to hand in a quest before dinner. Fast travel solved that. It let players skip repetition and focus on the part they actually wanted to do. But it also changed how worlds feel. When you can instantly teleport everywhere, distance matters less. Roads matter less, the journey can become optional. And in some games, that's fine. In others, the journey is the point. That's why fast travel design matters. A good system respects your time without making the world feel small. A bad system turns the map into a menu. Fast travel changed gaming because it helped huge worlds stay playable. And it created one of the most honest thoughts in modern gaming. Absolutely not walking there. Number 5. Crafting. Crafting changed gaming by making players look at trash differently. Before crafting, a rock was just a rock. After crafting, a rock became potential. A stick? Potential. A random mushroom behind a tree? Could be health, could be poison, could be the start of a side quest that ruins your evening. Crafting turned the world into ingredients. And that changed how players explored, because suddenly you weren't just walking through environments, you were scanning them. Crafting made worlds feel more useful. It gave survival games more depth, RPGs flexibility, and open worlds more reasons to make you loot every drawer in existence. When it works, crafting feels great. You find materials, make exactly what you need, and survive because you prepared. But when it goes too far, looting starts to feel less like adventure and more like cleaning someone's garage. Still, crafting changed gaming because it turned collecting into a strategy. It made random objects matter, and it made millions of players pick up junk while saying, I might need this. They did not need it, but emotionally they did. Number 4. Achievements and trophies. Achievements changed gaming by turning progress into proof. Beat the level, finish the story, find the secret. Do something ridiculous the developers clearly knew someone would try. Congratulations. A tiny notification now says your nonsense mattered. Before achievements, beating a game was usually enough. Maybe you found secrets, maybe you replayed it, maybe you bragged to your friend and they just had to believe you. Achievements made those moments visible outside the game. They became a record, a checklist, a reason to replay, and sometimes a reason to suffer. Achievements gave developers a new way to guide players. They could reward exploration, mastery, challenge curiosity, or complete nonsense. And they changed what finished means. Finishing the story became one kind of completion. Getting everything became another. Achievements changed gaming because they extended the life of games, gave players new goals, and turned that little pop-up sound into a reward all by itself. Number 3. Loot rarity colors. White, green, blue, purple, orange. If you play games, your brain probably already knows what that means. Loot rarity colors became one of gaming's clearest languages. The game doesn't need to explain much, you see the color and understand instantly. Common, better, rare, very rare, legendary. Loot colors changed gaming because they made rewards readable at a glance. In loot-heavy games, players are constantly comparing weapons, armor, materials, upgrades, and stats. Color makes that easier. A purple item drops and suddenly everyone has the same thought. Oh? That is powerful design. It creates instant emotion before you even know if the item is good. And sometimes it isn't good. Sometimes it's completely useless for your build. Loot rarity colors spread because they work. RPGs, MMOs, loot shooters, live service games, mobile games, the color language is everywhere. It changed how rewards feel. Not just what you got, but how excited you are the moment it hits the ground. Number 2. The open world map reveal. There's something dangerously satisfying about opening a map and seeing a huge blank space. Unknown regions, unvisited landmarks. A world covered in mystery and the quiet promise that you are about to get distracted for 3 hours. Open world map reveal changed gaming because it turned exploration into visible progress. You weren't just traveling, you were uncovering the world. Climb somewhere high, reach a new area, activate something. Suddenly the fog clears, icons appear, and your brain goes, oh no, there's so much to do. This mechanic gave huge worlds structure. It helped players understand where they had been and where they still needed to go. And it made exploration feel measurable. But it also created one of modern gaming's most familiar loops. Reveal map, see icons, clear icons, move on. When done well, map reveal makes the world feel mysterious and inviting. When overdone, it can turn adventure into cleaning a digital kitchen. Still, it changed gaming because it gave players a reason to push into the unknown. A blank map says, there's more out there. And for a lot of players, that is all it takes. Number 1. Battle passes and daily quests. And finally, we have one of the most influential and exhausting mechanics in modern gaming. Battle passes and daily quests. This is where games stopped only asking, do you want to play? And started asking, have you completed your tasks today? Battle passes and daily quests changed gaming because they changed the relationship between players and games. A game was no longer just something you played when you felt like it. It became something that waited for you, with timers, challenges, progress bars, limited time rewards. And the quiet reminder that if you don't log in today, you might miss something. That is powerful. Maybe too powerful. The idea makes sense. Players like goals, they like rewards, they like progression. A good battle pass can give a game structure and keep it fresh for weeks. The problem is when motivation turns into obligation. Suddenly you're not playing because you want to, you're playing because there are 3 daily quests, 2 weekly challenges and a skin you technically don't need but emotionally already own. That's why this mechanic deserves the top spot. It didn't just change game design, it changed gaming habits. It turned progress into a schedule, it made games more active, more connected, and sometimes more demanding. Battle passes and daily quests can keep games alive for years, but they can also make gaming feel like a checklist with better sound effects. And out of every mechanic on this list, this one might have changed not just how games are designed, but how often games expect us to show up. And that's the thing about game mechanics. Most of them don't look revolutionary while they're happening. They're just little systems. A checkpoint here, a map icon there, a skill point, a color-coded piece of loot. But over time, those systems shape everything. They change what games feel like, they change what players expect. They change what annoys us, what motivates us, what keeps us playing, and what makes us say, okay, just one more thing. Which, historically, has never meant one more thing. So now I want to know from you, which game mechanic do you think changed gaming the most? And which mechanic do you wish the games would use a little less? Because I have a few thoughts about open world icons, but I'm trying to grow as a person. If you enjoyed the video, subscribing helps the couch grow. And if you want to support the channel even more directly, my Patreon is linked below. No pressure, obviously. But every bit of support helps me keep making cozy gaming history videos like this. Thank you for watching. Sit down, relax, game on, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace!